So our first story is mobile health apps leak sensitive data through APIs. And I wanted to talk to you about this. I covered it in today and I put it on my LinkedIn
Hmm.
post. A company called Approve, APPROOV. That's what happens when we run out of domain. Had essentially went in, White Hat kind of hacked 30 mobile apps. And here's what they found. All of the apps, all 30 were found to be vulnerable to API attacks, and some allowed access to electronic health records. The 30 apps collectively exposed 23 million mobile health users to attacks. Knight reported of the 30 app tests, 77% contain hard-coded APIs, of which some do not expire, according to the report, and 77% had hard-coded username and passwords. I went as far in my Today Show as to say, if you find an API that has hard-coded username and passwords, you should find and fire those people immediately and get rid of those companies immediately. I mean, we learned that in high school. Our first programming class we ever take, you learn not to hard code username and passwords into code. And so if people are wondering why I'm being so adamant on that, I mean, it's an egregious problem. But
Yeah.
anyway, we're finding these problems, and I'm afraid what people are going to take from this is, oh, see, APIs are bad. We shouldn't be going down this fire route, and all we're doing is exposing all the data. And I don't think that's the moral of this story. I think the moral of the story is we've got to get better at this, at identifying these things, understanding how APIs work, understanding how complete security stacks can work around a set of APIs, and recognize just because there's a need to connect things up, you still have to put that security framework around every connection that you're making.
Yeah. I mean, the APIs are cool, right? Back in the day, we had to write interfaces between all of these things, and they were miserable and they were hard to write. And then every time somebody upgraded the system on one side, we had to rewrite the interface, and they were life sucked. It was a terrible situation. And then somebody came up with APIs, and it seemed like initially it was like, that's amazing, because now it's almost like you have a power strip and you can plug these things in and they can all, communicate with each other. And I don't have to worry about the way the data flows back and forth, because these APIs take care of all the sort of transfer of that data, which is great until like after 4 APIs, we started to see things like this: hard-coded passwords, hard-coded usernames, and lots of other things, just sloppy coding in these APIs. So they worked, but at the same time, we started to be really concerned about the way that they worked. And even today, I mean, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I was working with, at the time, a client was working with another potential client, and they were talking about exchanging data through an API. And when we looked at the API, it was like baby's first API. It was an API. It was certainly written and it could certainly exchange data, but there were a lot of things in there that didn't make it super comfortable to use. And so you're exactly right. The point on APIs is that, like everything, they come along, they're bright, shiny objects, and they seem to save the day. Yay, silver bullets. And then you start to look inside and there's corrosion. It doesn't work the way that you think it should work. Just expect that for everything that you're going to see, because it's going to happen more and faster as we continue to get into this digital health world. There's going to be more super cool things that are going to work great, and the government's going to fall in love, and they're going to tell health systems that they have to use them. And then companies like Epic are going to step in and say, wait a minute, I'm not sure, I'm concerned about all these APIs, and they're going to get trash thrown at them. And look, this is a thing we're going to have to work through over time. They're not perfect. They're awesome conceptually, but you got to make sure you spend some time under the hood and they work the way that they're supposed to.